Tharp. I'm here live to take your US immigration related questions. Go ahead and put your questions in the comments now so that I can answer your questions. Hi there. Hi, thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. Put your questions in the comments. I want to get straight to those questions. Now, hi, thanks for the love on TikTok. Hi there. Hi, friends on Instagram. It's nice to see you. Hi on Facebook, YouTube. Nice to see you. All right, so I'm looking for questions now. Thanks so much for the love. I appreciate it. Hi there, Eddie. Nice to see you. Thanks so much for the love. I appreciate it. Hi. Hi there. Nice to see you. All right. So I am documentarily qualified on spouse in Nigeria. Do you have any idea when I'll get the interview? So our last case in Nigeria, it took a year and a half for them to schedule the interview. Now, not to say that's going to be the case with you, but processing times vary. But on average, I'd say it a year and a half to wait for that interview. Is it possible to switch from F1 to an O visa? Yes, it's possible. You just have to make sure you qualify. So the O visa is extraordinary ability. So there's specific criteria that you need to meet, but it's possible. Also, keep in mind timing, and then also the country that you're from. You have to just plan for any kind of delays related to, pauses right now. My wife came to the US on 2022 and she got her green card in 2024. When can I apply for citizenship? Okay. 3 years in the US. If we're talking about US citizenship, it's going to be 3 years from the time that you got approved for the green card. And you also have to show that you're living in marital union with your spouse. I'm a U.S. citizen. I filed a petition for my daughter, who is 35 years old. How long is it gonna take? A minimum of 7 years. So it is a long wait time, unfortunately. Okay, on YouTube, Facebook, it looks like I'm having an issue here seeing the chat. I'm not sure why. Okay, I have a B1, B2 visa and I'm married. My mom will be able to petition for me in 2031. Right now, she's in her late 70s. As the timeline takes over a decade, what happens if I lose my mom as a sponsor? So usually the petition ends with the petitioner unless it was approved. If it was approved and the priority date was current, you still may be able to be able to get through with the process. But it's basically through humanitarian reinstatement. But that's down the line. Hopefully, you'll be able to see that day. You'll be able to see the day. You can join your mom here, and everything will be fine. Hi there, Campbell. It's nice to see you. Is it okay to self-deport without problems at the airport? It really depends on what's going on with you. That's a question I wouldn't be able to answer specifically for you. leaving the country on your own accord, which people refer to as self-deporting, is permissible. People have done it, no problems, but it depends on what's going on with you. For example, is there something in your background? Are you wanted? Is there a warrant out? That can red flag you as you're going through the airport. So it just depends, and we'd have to know the facts. The letter given at consular interview about the pause, is it a denial or a refusal letter? It's basically, well, I don't know. I haven't seen that letter. But I keep in mind the pause does not mean a denial. It means that they're waiting on hold. They're putting the case on hold until they lift the pause. Can I go a day ahead of my biometrics appointment? In some cases, I've heard of people doing it. I can't tell you to do it, because, that really depends on what's going on with you. It's possible, but I can't advise you specifically. I'm married now. I have to go in for an interview now that my visa is expired. And then I don't see the rest. My I-130 petition from my mom just became current on the visa bulletin, but it's not yet been officially approved. Can I go ahead and file an I-485? I'm still on legal status. Great question. And while I'm not your attorney, I can't give you specific legal advice. And this is always the area where a lot of people make mistakes. Here's what you needs to happen, and that may be the case for you. Even if your I-130 is pending, but while you're here on current status, your priority date becomes current because you now have a priority date, then you can file as long as you maintain your legal status at the time that you're filing the I-485. So it is possible, absolutely, in this situation. If you're married to a US citizen, can you file for a work permit, Social Security without filing for your green card? No, you need to file for the green card application in order to get the work permit and the Social Security number. Hi there, Nadia. It's nice to see you. You may, hit an uphill battle because now they're looking at you and they're saying, okay, now you have a U.S. citizen spouse who's in the United States, and that can go against you, right? To show strong ties that you'll be able to return to your country after a brief visit, because now the risk is higher that you want to stay with your spouse in the U.S. So that might go against you for renewal of the visa, but it doesn't say that you can't try, and it depends on what's going on in your own background, that can strengthen the case for you to get a visa. Okay. Hi there, Top Man. Nice to see you. You're a long-time viewer. I hear that US citizen sibling filings take up to 14 years. Can my sibling file for me while I hold a B1, B2 visa? Yes, so it is definitely not a rumor. It does take at minimum 14 years. In some countries, it's taking over 2 decades. Now, can they file for you while you have a B1, B2? Yes. And I would say the cases where you have a long pending petition like that, they're more likely to approve a visa or continue to allow you to use a visa, because you're not, if you overstay, you're going to be stuck here. It's not going to work for you to get the green card because it takes so long. And they know that, right? They know that you don't have a direct path once you overstay in the US, even with a sibling petition. So they can file for you, but keep in mind, I'm not your attorney. I'm not giving you personalized legal advice. That's where you need to definitely talk to an attorney, because there is a chance, especially now, that they may also say you have a pending petition. That means you have immigrant intent, so that they may look at it differently. If your aunt passed away, can you request an expedite for VAWA? So I'd need to know more. Possibly, but why? Is it to go to the funeral? Um, Oftentimes, what they will do is issue issue you an expedited travel document if you need to get to the funeral, but it may not, lead to an expedite of your entire VAWA case. I did my biometrics 3 months ago and still nothing. How soon do you think I should expect something? I wouldn't know. You can look, I don't know even the forms that you filed or what you're filing for, but you can go look at case processing times, and that will give you a general idea of how long, the longest time you should be expecting to wait. It may be shorter, maybe longer, but they do show you the maximum of time, amount of time it's taking now. It's been 7 months now. I have applied for status, adjustment of status, but no interview schedule yet. What to do? That's not necessarily out of the ordinary for that to happen. And it might even take longer because now they're pushing all the pending cases back into the FBI background check. And the thing is, when they do the interview, the officer wants to have that background check ready so they can see, if there's anything questionable on your background. It's been 9 months. It's been 9 months now. My husband is awaiting for his replacement naturalization certificate. So he would have to check with them to see what's going on. How much do you file a mandamus? So we'd have to look at the case. In all our cases, we focus on the facts, what it's going to take, and then we provide a quote. The first step you can do is actually contact us and schedule time to talk, and then we can tell you. What if I don't have a tax return? Will I still can get my fiance? So I'm not sure. If a tax return is required, they're not going to approve it, especially when you're dealing with an affidavit of support. They're not going to approve it without that tax return. My husband was denied his citizenship. We married for 3 years. Should I go ahead with my application? I'm not. He was denied his citizenship. Is it? It's. I'm not sure what application is it for the green card. So if he was denied citizenship and you were depending on him to get citizenship so that you could do your adjustment of status, then going forward is really going to be a strategic decision. So get in touch with us, talk to us so we can decide how to move forward from there. But so that you can decide how to move forward with our advice, specific advice. My 12-year-old daughter did her interview but they didn't take the passport and said wait. Right. So if your daughter is going for the immigrant visa, they have paused the immigrant visa for Jamaicans. And so until it's lifted, they will not be issuing any immigrant visas in the passport. So that's probably what the officer meant. Has the pause for Colombia been lifted? No. Now, keep in mind, I'm seeing, has the pause for Colombia been lifted? The I-130. Keep in mind, the I-130 is not what has been paused. Please do not mistake the pause for the immigrant visa to be a pause on the I-130. You can still move forward with your I-130 petition, right? And then when it gets to the embassy, they may even schedule the interview, but they're just not going to issue you the visa until the pause is lifted. Okay, so let's see. I'm on Instagram. Please, is it compulsory that my wife is petitioning for me present her 3 years tax return? So usually they want to see that they filed the most recent 3 years, and then they usually want to see the most recent tax return. Is T visa bona fides EAD still coming? Yes, absolutely, those are still coming. And those are 4-year work permits. So while they have changed the made work permit shorter for adjustment of status from 5 years to 18 months, when we get deferred action bona fides for our T visa clients, those are actually coming as 4-year work permits, while they wait until the T visa is approved to get the next 4-year work permit and I-94. Well, a lot of questions are coming in. Hang tight, everybody. I hear that U.S. citizen sibling filings take up to 14 years. I answered that. Let's see. All right. I'm on TikTok. Is oath of ceremony on pause for Jamaicans? It should not be anymore. So I believe that they've lifted that. And the pause on immigrant visas will not affect Jamaicans doing adjustment of status, or citizenship here in the US. Can a green card holder travel outside the US with an no, keep in mind though, what the holdup is. There is where the pause or a delay you may find is for Jamaicans, for everybody, is they're pushing applications back through a background check. And until those go right back through an FBI background check, a more extensive background check, they will not be approving that, or they won't be scheduling them for an oath ceremony. So in that case, you may see a greater delay. My EAD VAWA combo renewal has not been approved for 13 months. That's not out of the ordinary. You can look at the case processing times, unfortunately. I know it can be frustrating, but it's not out of the ordinary right now. Can a green card holder travel outside the US with an expired green card with 48-month extension? Yes, that's exactly what the 48-month extension letter is for. Make sure you have the original extension letter. Make sure your passport is current. Thanks so much, Junk Salon 641, for following. I appreciate that on Instagram. How long is wait time for interviews for the DQ? So I've seen them range from a year to even 2 years. Are you still recommending DACAs to file for parole, advanced parole? So that is still, yes, that is still a possibility, but really is on a whole, should all DACA recipients apply? No, because this is really a strategic decision. Because once you do get advanced parole and then you're coming back into the country, and you get the parole based on traveling back into the country with advanced parole, then you have the ability to adjust status. However, it's really on a case by case basis. That should be discussed with an attorney to determine whether that's the best thing to do right now. Because traveling is can be risky. How long do you think this ban will affect Form I-765 for individuals from banned countries? Unfortunately, I don't have a timeline for you. How long to get EAD for? We track from the date of filing, but I'm not giving timelines because I don't want one person to think because it happened for that person, it's going to happen for me. Every case is different. If you want to have an idea of the longest wait time right now it's taking for work permits, you can go look it up on case processing times. How long do you think so I answered that. How long will it take to receive the EAD after doing biometrics? I usually go to uscis.gov, go to case processing times, look at I-765 processing times, and you'll see there. I got married on a B1, B2 visa in the USA, and I'm from Jamaica. Should I do the status change? If you're here in the United States right now and you qualify for adjustment of status to get your green card, being here is going to be the best thing because in Jamaica, you will not get past the interview with an immigrant visa to come here. Being here, though, they still allow adjustment of status for Jamaicans. If you have a removal order, what can you do? So we need to figure out how, was that removal order issued in your absence? If that's the case, you may be able to do a motion to reopen, but we have to talk about the facts here, what led up to the removal order, and then see if we can reverse that. Are VAWA cases on hold? No. Not all VAWA cases are on hold, but we do, of course, have some that are on hold based on, of course, the citizens are. If they're a citizen of the banned country, then you wouldn't expect a decision. I know Jamaica is part of the 75 banned countries, so I wanted to check. But thank you. I will book a consultation with you. Definitely give us a call. If you scroll, go to any of my videos, you'll see the phone number there. Hi there, Sasha. It's always nice to see you. Um, all right. Please, I didn't. So, not filing, so your spouse would have to give an explanation as to why, and it has to be a valid explanation as to why she didn't file the most recent 3 years. Um, sometimes it's justified, sometimes they didn't work, they made too little for that year, and that's fine, but they should provide an explanation. Now, keep in mind, this when it comes to the affidavit of support, that is one of the most overlooked aspects of the application process, the adjustment of status application process. And it because of that, it is fast becoming one of the most common ways to be denied in your adjustment of status before you can even get to the interview. That affidavit of support needs to be solid. And so this question here that we have about the wife not filing for the 3 most recent years of taxes is related to the affidavit of support. So you need to make sure you're talking to an attorney so you get it right. Um, Hello, I filed a petition for my parents, but no update. They live in Pakistan. I'm a US citizen. So you'd have to just call the USCIS to make sure everything is okay and on track. Can I reapply for N400 if it was denied good moral character due to taxes now paid? So the thing about it is, some if they find that you lack good moral character, some issues can actually lead to you having to wait. Um, so we'd really have to talk about this one to figure out what all the facts are. Is it's now paid, but now they have a GM, that you lack good moral character. Um, at the time that they reviewed your application, that's what they found. So we'd have to talk about what the facts are, what led up to, did you even know that you had owed taxes, what happened, and then determine from a strategic point of view whether your application can be considered, reconsidered, if there is that as well. If it's been less than 30 days since the decision, that may be a possibility as well. Um, I-130 for kids underage as stepmom are approvals delayed. I-130 for kids underage as stepmom are approvals delayed. We applied 11 months ago. Depends on which country you're from. If they're in the country and the country is on the 75 country immigrant visa pause, yes, that is going to lead to the delay. Status change to parole fee received. Okay, so then change to settled. So I wouldn't have anything to say about that. Judge didn't show up for my case and still haven't gotten new date. What can I do? So right now it just sounds like a waiting game. Please, what safety questions do the USCIS ask when you call for a change of address? I'm not sure what that means. Safety as in security questions. I wouldn't know. Have as much info of your biographic information with you so that, for example, your receipt notice, make sure you have your receipt notice number, you have your address, you have the previous address, date of the address, your name, date of birth, so they usually ask questions like that. Can I still visit the US from Jamaica with a pending case to migrate? Interview was done, no visa issued. That's very specific. and I can't tell you whether you can now travel. It's just that, with an immigrant visa pending, and that was not issued, it's still pending, it's paused, that may raise some questions as you're coming in. But I don't want to make any assumptions at the same time. How long for our take? I filed 2024, but not yet see any updates. Go to uscis.gov, go to case processing times. You'll see, I look up I-360 and you'll see it there. Can I add my 3-month-old to my filing already approved by NVC? If so, how? So yes, there is a possibility of doing that. You'd have to communicate with the NVC regarding that update so that they could add them. Is it okay to travel internationally with an I-751 waiver based on divorce? I wouldn't immediately say it's safe to travel. It's okay to travel with a waiver. Once you have a waiver, they are scrutinizing those waivers. And so, if there's any indication to them of fraud or that you can't prove the bona fides of your marriage, you may have an issue. Um, so, it's, a pending I-751 waiver does still carry its risk. I'm not saying you can't travel, but whenever you have a pending I-751, be very careful, because once you leave, if you leave and it's denied for some reason why you're out of the country, coming back in is gonna be they may not let you back in. My son got 221G. Is it okay if I apply for a visitor visa for him? He's 11 years old. So um visit with the visitor visa, you just have to make sure that your son has strong ties. If you're in the US, you apply for his visitor's visa, then they're definitely going to say he has stronger ties in the US because I think his mom is there, versus, so they may deny that. However, keep in mind that, um, I don't know your circumstances. You may be able to show stronger ties for him that could allow them to issue the visa. Um, Sometimes I know it's a lot of money to apply for the visitor's visa, but if you do have that to spare and you're completely truthful in your application, it may not hurt to try. Can I travel with, are they approving I-140s for Nigerians, EB-1A petitions? I'd have to check if the ban includes that. But keep in mind that the I-140, they're approving I-140 petitions. But when it gets to the embassy, they're not going to issue an immigrant visa, because ultimately that's what is leading up to an I-140 is leading up to an immigrant visa. And because they're on the 75 country list, they're not going to issue that until the pause is lifted. Thanks so much for the love. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Sasha. Um, can I travel with advanced parole if I am from a banned country? Great question. In this case, I would say leaving the country and you're from a banned country is a huge risk, even if you have advanced parole. My husband is from Jamaica and has been here for 9 years. We just filed the application. So sounds like you're moving forward. I don't see the rest of the question though. Thanks for the love. I appreciate it. Does bad credit affect petitions? It may affect at the interview and the affidavit when they're reviewing for public charge, which is what the affidavit of support is all about. If they do see the immigrant has bad credit, they owe a lot of money, that can be a problem. And bad credit, we're talking about bad debts, right? They are looking at things like that now. They're looking at your debts, they're looking at credit history, they're looking at you know, different factors. So your age, your work history, your education, they're looking at those as well. So that can, in this day and age, the way that they've updated the new public charge evaluation to be, yes, that is going to affect the application. How can I get your telephone number? So if you scroll to the top of this comments right now, you will see the telephone number, and then let me see if I can also, I'll add it as a comment. So under immigration attorney, Sharifa Tharp, you'll see the number. It's 561 405 4889. Immigration attorney Sharifa, you can go ahead and call that number, and you can call right now. When, how do I go about getting an F2A expedited when it's at USCIS stage? To be completely honest, that may be an uphill battle to get it an F2A expedited, but it's not impossible. We have gotten, well, we have gotten expedites done. It may take a couple tries as well. But you'd have to submit an expedite request through the USCIS, usually through the number. They'll take the information. Sometimes they'll get back in touch with you and tell you they want more evidence of the reason for the expedite, and you provide that, then they'll evaluate it. Can I upload a corrected I-864 to my unsolicited evidence when I realize I made a clerical error? So I don't want to necessarily advise you on what to do here because, procedurally, I have to check every time. My team has, and mostly it's my team now that works with, checking these things. But you would have to make sure you read the instructions, or just make sure that it's going to be viewed, or make sure that that is the way to do it. All right. Okay, I'm on Instagram now. Is it best to have a lawyer file both sides of the paperwork pertaining to applying for your green card and work permit along with your social security number? Best to use a lawyer? Yes, absolutely. You're never going to hear me say anything else, especially now. The lawyer knows we do this every day. So we understand what's required. We understand where to look if requirements change, and so the chances of something happening is lower than if you did it yourself. So absolutely, the lawyer can help with this. You can give us a call and we can talk to you about what your options are and then move forward. Not sure if you responded. If my waiver was denied as a J1 and my daughter is a US citizen, should I still try to adjust my status or should I go home? So if your J1 waiver was denied and then you don't have any other means to get that waived, the 2-year foreign residency requirement, you would not be approved for the adjustment of status. So you'd have to really weigh whether it makes more sense to just do the 2 years outside of the country, or proceed with evaluating, do you have exceptional hardship? I don't know if you did a no objection letter or exceptional hardship waiver, but if you have no other options to get a waiver, then you're going to have to do those 2 years outside of the US. Can my psychological evaluation help my VAWA get it approved? Yes, it can. It can help. It may not help either. It just depends on how good the psychological evaluation is. A psychological evaluation is a plus, though. Is it best to have a lawyer? So, yeah, it's best to have a lawyer. Uh, do not, I am going to tell you this right now, and it's not because I'm a lawyer, it's because I see it every day. People, do all sorts of mess with their process and then get into more messes, and it just makes my head spin. And then by that point, it's really hard to fix the situation. Get a lawyer. I would say right now, a lawyer is required in your immigration process because it has gotten so much. It is very complicated right now because now we have an administration that is looking at things much differently. So something that may have been straightforward before, or we all would have confidence about going in, is no more, right? They are nitpicking at things, and you want to strategically just make sure that you are ready to answer those questions or ready to tackle those obstacles with an attorney who has that legal knowledge. When we should apply for US passports, as soon as you're a citizen. Can I upload a corrected I? So I answered that. Are you from Trinidad? No, I'm from Jamaica. So I grew up in Jamaica. All right. I'm looking at Instagram, just trying to see if any more questions. I've been living in the US for 27 years. I came to the US when I was 1 years old. So let's now you probably qualified for DACA, but let's also talk about other options. There may still be options available. So this is where you can give us a call and then we can evaluate whether other options may be applicable to you that are more permanent. If you if you don't have DACA, or even if you have DACA, we can look at those other options. Thanks so much, Neville. I appreciate that. How long does it take to process a renter permit as a green card holder? I'm not a renter permit. That doesn't sound like or re-entry permit. Okay, you have to go to uscis.gov, look at case processing times, and you'll see the average processing time. Is it okay if I adjust status after my visa is up or before? So usually you do have to make sure that you can adjust your status. Unless you're the immediate relative of a US citizen, you have to adjust your status um, before it expires or before it is up. All right, that's gonna be it for me today. Thanks so much for your time, guys. It's through marriage to a U.S. citizen. You don't necessarily have to file it before your time expires. All right, have a good one, guys. Thanks so much for your time. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the likes. I really appreciate it, and the gifts. I will be back tomorrow. So as soon as I come back, I will definitely answer those questions. What you can do is just like, subscribe, follow, hit the notification bell so that when I come on, you see when I come on, you can hop on and ask your questions. All right. Have a good one, guys. And remember, you need help, just give us a call. All right. Bye bye.